Hey, what's up guys, this is Hasnen and you're watching Trending Codes. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fine, and in today's video we're gonna start to learn about creating a UI with multiple animations, how to handle multiple animations into the Flutter. So if you take a look on the screen, what I have built over here now, the beauty of this video or the beauty of this particular tutorial is that we are not going to use any plugins. The code which we are going to write is from scratch. We are not going to use any Dart library or any Dart plugin which is available into the Dart market. So there are many plugins available which allows you to just use this pulling up and pulling down the pane and this progress bar and all other stuff. So the thing over here is this progress bar for a song is being made customly, okay, and we are going to write a code for that, the icons as well as the list. So the everything which you can see on the screen are being done with a custom code. We are not using any libraries, and the draggable pan as well as the parallax effect which you can see, the poster of that particular movie or the album is being blurred when you just drag up your pan, okay. So that looks quite amazing, and it is not so tough to achieve actually when you just understand the basic of.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Okay, so over here as you can see I have a class with the name of homepage, and it's a stateful widget. Because we are going to work with animations, and of course when we want to modify some variables, we need to build this UI again and again. The widget tree will be built again and again when you just change something. So we need to use for that set state function which will build the particular widget, or which will rebuild that particular widget. Now as you know, we need a scaffold. So the very first thing we need is we cannot directly use container because we need a scaffold, and to use a scaffold we are going to return a new material app. So this material app is going to have this material app is going to have we call as basic thing. For example, we are not going to use builder. We'll be using I guess home. Yes, we're going to use home, and our home is going to be scaffold. Okay, so if you just take a look over here, if I just go ahead and save this, I'm going to get a white screen right away. Now we don't need that debug banner, so what we're going to do is we are going to just make that false. Go ahead and make it false, save it, and we can see that it has been gone. Okay, now very first thing is we need a body for the scaffold. So what we're going to do, we are going to give body, and if you take a look on this pack again, we are overlapping the album and the pen. So of course we are going to use a beautiful widget which is given by Flutter. It's called as stack. So we are going, stack is basically overlap the containers or the widgets. So to do that we are going to use a stack, and this stack accepts the widget or a list of widgets as a children. So it is going to have multiple widgets over here. So first we are going to do is we are going to say I need a container. I'm sorry, I have a new keyboard and it is just making a problem. So the container is going to have a height of let's say for an example media query of let's take the current context dot size, and it is going to have a height of the whatever the screen size we have, and we're going to make a color, and the color is going to be colors dot red. So right now I just wanted to show you the basic example, and okay, so I'm getting the context. Okay, so why we are getting this error is because we don't have the context builder. the thing is over here, we are using material app right inside the build, okay, and we cannot do that. What we have to do is we need to create one more class where we are going to return this class as the body of the scaffold, because if you want to access this context, we need a material app. So we need it is saying media query of call with a context that does not contain a media query. Media query is always available into the material app. So if you restart, even if you restart this app, you are going to face the same error. So what we will do is we will create one more stateful widget, and we'll say as stateful widget, and that stateful widget name is going to be a stack builder. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at giving the name. And what we're going to do is we are going to return this stack from that stack builder class. So we'll just go ahead and relax and just paste it over here. Okay, now just get rid of that errors. Now what we're going to do is the new body is going to be our stack builder. Okay, so now let's save it, and we got a container with a full height of our class. Now what we're going to do is a stack accepts as a children, so we are going to create one more container which is going to be on the top of the red container. So I'm going to give the height of half so that you can see the container which will be overlapped, and I'm going to name as green. Okay, so as you can see, which is totally on the top of the okay, so we got a container with a green color, and I want to pull that container down directly. So I will use a position widget, and this position widget gives us a property to bring our container to down or top or left or bottom. So right now we are going to say as bottom 10. Okay, but we will be in a problem because as soon as we give as a 10, the container or the position looks for the width of the container as well, which is missing from here. So what we will do, we will give the width as well, so which is going to be the full width of the device. So width, sorry, over here it should be width, not height. So let's go ahead and give a width. Now if you take a look, we got a container which is way or 10 pixels or 10 units top away from the bottom, okay. So what I want to do is I just want to make that container to go really down out of the axis or out of the screen. So of course I'm going to use the value which is negative. So if I give -100, the container is going to be somewhere down over there. Now what's happening into our app is when I just drag this, it is going to up. Okay, now half of the portion of our app is done right now. What we need is we need a container with a really what we can say is a really background, with a background image, a real background image of the song album. So right now we are not going to build that, we'll just make this widget to animate right now, and later on we will build the same UI. So very first thing what you're going to do is you're going to implement the init method, okay, and that init method is called somewhat like this. No? Okay, init state, I'm sorry. So the init state is going to have animation and animation controller. Okay, now if you take a look over here, we are going to create one animation and animation controller which will control this pen. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to create an animation. First I'm going to create an animation controller so that I can just control the container with that controller. So we are going to give name as pen controller. Okay, and we are going to create an animation where we are going to give name as pane animation. Okay, now inside the init state we are going to initialize our pane controller first, and equals to animation controller, and it accept this. Now as you know, when we are implementing the animations, if you want to use vsync, we have to use one class that called single ticker provider or ticker provider, a ticker provider state mixin. Okay, now along with that ticker provider state mixin, we are going to use a duration property. This duration property help us to last our how long our animation should be there. So we'll say in 500 sorry, we should say the seconds. So we'll take milliseconds. In 500 milliseconds it should complete our animation. Now controller is done. Controller will just control the pan and say that in 500 milliseconds you have to complete the animation. Now what kind of animation we need over here? So we need the double type animation, because we are going to change this value. Okay, and this value is going to be a double. Right now we are giving integer, but we can just use 0.0 or 0.1 or something like that, so that it is going to be a double. Now our animation is of type double, so it's better to provide our best practice to create a specific type animation. So now our pan animation, our pan animation is going to be a tween animation, and the tween animation is also of type double. Now what will happen is, over here what we're going to do is we are going to make it as begin with somewhat around 300. Okay, and we are going to end up with 0. Okay, and we are going to say you have to animate and it accept the controller, but we are going to maintain the curve as well. So over here we are going to say a curve, or does it accept curve? I don't really remember it. Okay, curve, I don't think so it accepts curve, no. So animation is going to be it's going to accept the controller, that is our pane controller. Okay, and that's all. Now what we have to do is we will just rebuild our app so that we can use this animation controller over here. So right now if I give 300, so our animation will start from 300. So right now if I give 300, the pan is somewhere over there. So let's make this 300 to 250 so that it will be visible to our screen. So let's make it 250. Now what we're going to do is we are going to use the animation controller value, or we can say animation value. It could be great if we use animation value. So animation, when I talk about animation, it means it's a pan animation, and when I talk about animation controller, it means it's a pane controller. So better I will use the name given as pane controller dot value. Okay, this value will return the value which will be taking our controller from minus 300 to 0. Okay, so let's see what will happen. So right now the controller, the pane controller is somewhat should be 250, or what if we use a pane controller, pane animation value? Let's take a look. Will it make any change? Okay, it is somewhere over here. So what we will do is we'll just rebuild our app, and we will just wrap this container into a gesture detector, and we'll see what happens. Now the gesture detector is going to give us the many on tap, on vertical drag and everything. I'm sorry. So on tap, what we're going to do is on tap we are going to forward our animation. So it is going to be animation, a pane animation controller. It's a pane animation controller, right? A pane animation controller, a pane controller dot we could say as forward. Okay, so let's see what happens if I just touch this. Nothing is happening. Okay, so we are facing some problem, I guess so. So if I just click on this, nothing is happening. So let me just figure it out. What is okay? So right now nothing is working, and our container is also on the top because we forgot to give the negative value, which is going to be -250. So now if I just go ahead and save it, it is going to come down, but not right now because it's in init state. So I need to rebuild my app, and after rebuilding, most probably it is going to come down. Okay, cool. Now even if I have a tap detector, okay, and it is even picking the tap event on the screen, but still it is not animating our container. So what is the reason behind that? So if you take a look on that, it is picking up the tap gesture, or we can say as tap event, but it is not animating. Okay, the reason behind that is because Flutter widget tree will not animate until you wrap your animating widget into an animated builder. Okay, so our stack is going to be the wrap into the animated builder widget. So we are going to do as animated builder, and this animated builder accepts the animation, which is going to be our animation controller, that is our pane controller, and it has an item builder, or we can say as builder, which accepts two parameters. The first one is going to be our context, that is build context, and next one is our widget. Now this is going to return this stack. Now right now this stack is taken as a children or a child because we have just wrapped that widget using Visual Studio Code IntelliSense or a plugin. So what we're going to do is we are going to just cut from there and paste it over here, get rid from the errors, putting the semicolon, and remove this child from here, and here we go. Now I'm just going to format the code, Shift Alt F. It's formatted, and I'm going to save it one more time. And if I just rebuild this app, our container is going to be somewhere over here. Now if I just click on that, what will happen? Just see. Okay, now our animation is working. So always remember, when you want to do some animations, use animated builder, okay, which is the best practice, which will not lag your animation at any cost. So this is the best practice when you do use animated builder. Now animation is done, almost animation is done. So what we're going to do is we are going to build the same UI, and before building the same UI, what we're going to do is we will just create one more method of type widget, so that we can just differentiate the things. Widget, and its name is going to be a stack body, and the stack body accepts the build context, so that we can refer the tree if we need it into this method, and it is going to return the stack. Okay, so just go ahead and copy this stack over here, paste it at the top, and return the name as stack body. Paste it over here, and it accepts the context. Semicolon, save it, and our UI is saved. So just reload to make sure our app is working fine or not. It's working fine, and it will go down. Now if I just click, thumbs up. Okay, The animation is almost done. Now we are going to replicate the UI which I have just shown you in the starting of this video. Okay, so our animation is done over here. If you just take a look over here, we were having a function called controller, that is pane controller.forward. Now what happening is, if I click on this, the animation will be forwarded, but if I again click on it, the animation is not being reversed. Now what we will do, we will create a function called animation init, and what we will do in this function is we will just go ahead and create that function, and we will create one variable called animation complete. So we will create one boolean variable somewhere over here. Boolean is anim completed. Okay, now I will initialize it for the first time as false, because every time when our app runs, first time when our app runs, the animation will be animation completion will be false. So I will just use the if condition over here, is animation completed. If it is completed, then I'm going to reverse my pan. So I'm going to pull my pan backward. Our green stack to backward means towards the original position. So to do that, pane controller dot reverse. Okay, this will bring back to the original positions, and if animation is being not completed, then I'm going to make it as forward. So if whenever the first time or whenever the pen is down and being pulled up, at that time the animation will be forwarded. So the pen animation, the pen controller dot forward. Now after all this if condition, we have to take care of our animation completed. So if animation is completed, we should make it to true as well, because first time it will be false. So if it is completed, we should make it true, right? So what I will do, I'll use is animation completed equals to negation of is animation completed. So if it is true, it will return false. If it is false, then it will return true. Now we have called this function over here. Now just take a look what happens. It is being forward and being reversed, forward and being reversed. Okay, cool. Now what we're going to do is we are going to remove this color from here, and we are going to use decoration, which is going to accept box decoration, and this box decoration is going to be having image, which image is going to be a decorated image, and image will come from our asset. So it is going to be an exact asset image, and I'm going to pass the assets slash mm.jpg. Go ahead and save it. You got an image. Now the image is not being filled with the total height of our container, so we are going to use fit property, and we are going to say box fit dot cover. So it is being covered. Now there is not going to be a more difference till now, because we have just created the background, a static background, which is not being forward or anything. So what we're going to do now, right now the height is full. So when I forward my controller or when I forward my animation, the background image, the album image of the song should also get the position of half. If you take a look on the spec in the starting of the video, the height of the image is being pushed to half of the screen. How can we achieve this now? So first thing first, what we're going to do is we are going to change little bit into our stack, Now first thing, wrap this first container, which is image container, with a fractionally sized boxed widget, which is fractionally sized boxed fractionally sized box. It is fractionally sized box. Now this height, it accepts the height factor. Okay, now the height factor over here is like, if you give 1.0, it means the whole screen. Okay, now if you try to reduce this 1.0 to 0.6 or 0.5, it means the half of the screen. Okay, now as soon as I do the half of the screen, my image will go to the half of the screen. Image will get the height of half of the screen, but along with that, the next container, which is being positioned down or the bottom of the screen, is also going to that position. We don't need to happen that. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we are going to say our fractionally sized box that your alignment is going to be always top. Okay, so what you are going to do, alignment dot top center. So our image is going to be on the top side, and the container, which is green right now with the color of green, should be always on the bottom. So we are going to say alignment dot bottom. So after that, bottom center. Okay, so after this, still it is not going to be what exactly we need. So we have a property called fit in a stack, a fit which will expand our stack and which will give what exactly we need. So box fit, sorry, it's not box fit, it's a stack fit, because this is stack property, and it should be expand. So now our image is half, and our green container is down. Now if I pull this container up, it will go exactly over here. Now what I will do, reducing the height of this image will also be taken care by our animation controller, which is nothing but paint controller. So what I will do now is, I will just go ahead and create one more animation of type double, and I will just change the name of that animation. I'm sorry, Control C, and the animation name is going to be album animation, or album image animation. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to give the correct animation. I'm going to initialize our album image animation, and I'm going to format my code. Now as I said, it should start with the initial alignment, or the initial height factor of the image should be 1.0. So 1.0 means the full height of the screen, and as soon as the 500 milliseconds get completed, my animation should go to the half of the, or my image should go to the half of the screen. So it is going to be 0.5 right now. Okay, cool. Just save it and reload your app so that you can use the album image animation values. Right now it is hard coded over here. So what I will do, I will just remove this height factor. Okay, and what I will do, album image animation dot value. Okay, now just take a look what is there. Now what I'll do, I'll just forward my, can you see that? It is so nice, right? Now to achieve more ease and smoothness to our animation, what we will do, we will use the curve to our controller. Okay, so to use and curve, I guess we can use the curve directly over here somewhere. We can use the animation over here itself. So what we will do, we will do curved animation, code animation, and code animation accepts the parent, which is going to be our pen controller. For this animation, for our pen animation, the parent is pen controller, and for our album image animation is also pen controller as a parent. And we are going to define the curve as curves dot I guess easing. Okay, and the same code animation should be used for our album image animation. Okay, now when bracket is missing, just complete it, go ahead, save it, reload your or restart your app so that you can use the curves, because they are in init right now. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, now it looks amazing. Now we'll do one thing, we will apply the blur, okay, and we will try to make this green to our original color. Okay, so let's apply the blur.